After 70, stop wasting your life. 8 things I quit for a happier life. Reaching your 70s is a milestone worth celebrating. It's a stage of life filled with freedom, wisdom, and the chance to focus on what truly matters. But let's be honest, life's too short to waste time on things that don't bring you happiness or fulfillment. Here are 8 things I decided to quit after 70 that have transformed my life and made it so much more enjoyable. I hope these ideas inspire you to do the same. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. Know what to say no to. In our earlier years, we often find ourselves saying yes to almost everything, helping others, taking on responsibilities, attending social gatherings, and even doing things we don't particularly enjoy. It becomes second nature, a habit deeply rooted in a sense of obligation, fear of disappointment, or simply the desire to be a good person. But as we grow older, especially after 70, the perspective shifts. Life feels more finite, more precious. Every moment begins to carry a unique weight, and suddenly saying yes to everything no longer feels as noble. It starts to feel wasteful. Saying no isn't about selfishness or cutting yourself off from others. It's about understanding that your time and energy are sacred. They're finite resources that deserve careful, intentional use. Imagine your time as a beautifully woven fabric. It's no longer something you give away in scraps. Now, it's a tapestry you preserve, adding only what enhances its beauty. When you say no, you're not rejecting people or opportunities. You're saying yes to something more meaningful. You're saying yes to peace, to joy, and to the things that truly matter in this chapter of your life. It could be a quiet morning with a cup of coffee watching the sunrise. It could be a long phone call with a grandchild, sharing stories they'll carry with them forever. It could be a slow, peaceful walk outside, feeling the breeze on your face and appreciating the beauty of a moment uninterrupted. But how do you know what to say no to? The key lies in clarity. It's about understanding what you value most in life right now. Is it your health, your family, time to explore hobbies you've put off for years? Once you know what's important, the decision becomes clearer. Saying no becomes easier when you realize that every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that truly matters. Of course, saying no isn't always easy. There may be a pang of guilt, especially if you've spent a lifetime being a yes person. But here's the truth. You've earned this right. You've spent decades giving, sacrificing, and contributing. Now, it's your time to focus on what brings you fulfillment. And when you do say yes, it will come from a place of joy, not obligation. Saying no isn't just about declining tasks or invitations. It's about reclaiming your freedom. It's about allowing yourself to live with intention, to choose activities that resonate with your heart, and to focus on the relationships and experiences that make life richer. It's about removing the unnecessary noise so that the music of your life can play more clearly, more beautifully. After 70, every decision becomes an opportunity to design a life filled with meaning. Knowing what to say no to isn't just a skill. It's an act of love for yourself and the legacy you're still creating. 2. Say no to energy vampires. Create a good environment for yourself. As we age, the world around us seems to change at a faster pace. Relationships evolve, priorities shift, and the energy we once had in abundance becomes more precious. By the time we reach 70, every ounce of energy matters. It fuels our joy, our passions, and our ability to fully engage with the life we've worked so hard to build. Yet, there are people, often unintentionally, who drain that energy without giving anything meaningful in return. They're what I like to call energy vampires. Energy vampires come in many forms. They might be the friend who only calls to complain, never once asking how you're doing. They could be the family member who constantly criticizes or guilts you into doing things you don't want to do. Sometimes they're simply people who carry negative outlook on life, always finding fault, spreading worry, and dragging others into their gloom. Over time, these interactions don't just exhaust you, they rob you of your joy, your peace, and your ability to focus on what truly matters. By 70, it's time to stop making excuses for these people. It's time to prioritize your well being over the obligation to keep draining relationships alive. This doesn't mean you have to cut people off entirely or be unkind. It means setting boundaries. It means recognizing that you deserve relationships that nourish you, not deplete you. Creating a good environment for yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. Imagine your life as a garden. If you allow weeds to overrun it, the flowers won't thrive. Your relationships are like those flowers. To let them grow and bloom, you have to pull out the weeds. Sometimes that means limiting time with people who drain you. Other times, it means having honest conversations, letting someone know how their behavior affects you, and giving them the chance to change. And yes, sometimes it means walking away altogether. What you gain in return is transformative. When you create space by letting go of draining relationships, you invite new, uplifting connections into your life. You'll find that the people who enter this space bring laughter, understanding, and encouragement. They'll inspire you to try new things, support you when you're struggling, and celebrate your wins, no matter how big or small. But a good environment isn't just about the people around you. It's also about the physical and emotional spaces you create for yourself. Surround yourself with beauty, whether it's a cozy reading nook, a garden you love to tend, or a playlist of songs that bring back cherished memories. Protect your peace by letting go of unnecessary drama, turning off the news when it becomes overwhelming, and choosing to focus on the positive. At this stage of life, you have the wisdom to recognize what drains you and what lifts you up. Trust that wisdom. Say no to the people and situations that bring chaos into your life, and say yes to the relationships and environments that fill your days with light and love. You've earned the right to prioritize your happiness, and by doing so, you'll find that your energy doesn't just return, it multiplies, fueling a life that feels truly your own. 3. Don't get advice from people who haven't achieved what you want. By the time we reach 70, we've heard countless pieces of advice, some helpful, others well meaning but misguided. The truth is, not all advice is created equal. And one of the most liberating lessons of this stage of life is learning to discern whose guidance truly matters. When we seek advice, it's often because we're facing an important decision or trying to overcome a challenge. But here's the thing. If the person offering advice hasn't walked the path we want to follow, how can their guidance lead us where we want to go? For years, I found myself listening to suggestions from people who didn't understand my goals. And while their intentions were kind, their advice often left me more confused than before. It's not about dismissing others' perspectives outright. It's about understanding that their advice comes from their own experiences, values, and limitations, which may have nothing to do with your journey. For example, if you're looking to improve your health, wouldn't it make more sense to seek guidance from someone who has successfully adopted a healthy lifestyle rather than someone who struggles with the same issues you do? If you're looking for financial wisdom, shouldn't you turn to someone who has achieved financial stability and security? The lesson here is simple. Align yourself with people who inspire you, who have achieved the things you're striving for, and who understand the path you're on. These are the people whose advice can light the way forward. But even then, remember that advice is just a suggestion, not a prescription. At 70, you've earned the right to trust your own instincts, to take what resonates, and to leave the rest behind. More importantly, this is the time to become your own best advisor. Reflect on the wisdom you've gained over the years, and recognize how much you already know. Often, the answers we seek are within us, waiting to be acknowledged. Trust your intuition. It's been shaped by decades of experience. 4. Don't blame anyone for anything. Blame is a heavy burden, one that weighs down the spirit and keeps us stuck in cycles of frustration and regret. For much of our lives, it can feel natural to blame others when things go wrong. The driver who cut us off, the colleague who caused a mistake, the family member who let us down. But as the years pass, it becomes clear that blaming others never brings resolution. It only feeds resentment, and resentment steals our peace. When I let go of blame, I discovered something unexpected: freedom. Blaming others had given me a false sense of control, as if pointing a finger could somehow fix the situation, but it didn't. All it did was distract me from the one thing I could truly control: my own actions and reactions. The shift came when I realized that taking responsibility wasn't about accepting fault for everything that happened in my life. It was about owning my role in how I responded to challenges. I couldn't control the traffic that made me late, but I could leave earlier next time. I couldn't undo a hurtful comment from someone else, but I could choose not to dwell on it. When I stopped blaming others, I reclaimed my power to create change. This lesson isn't about being hard on yourself or ignoring external circumstances. It's about recognizing that life is a mix of what happens to us and how we respond. Sometimes things will happen that are completely beyond our control: illness, loss, unexpected setbacks. These moments are undeniably difficult, but even then, we have a choice. We can either let those events define us, or we can define ourselves through how we rise above them. One of the most profound truths I've learned is that forgiveness of others and of ourselves is the ultimate release. When we forgive, we're not condoning bad behavior or pretending everything is okay. We're simply deciding to let go of the pain and anger that keep us trapped in the past. Forgiveness is a gift we give to ourselves, a way to unshackle our hearts and move forward with grace. At 70, life becomes too precious to waste on blame. It's a time to lighten your load, to let go of grievances, and to embrace the peace that comes from taking ownership of your own happiness. In doing so, you'll find that the world feels lighter, kinder, and more full of possibility. 5. Don't say yes to everything. You can't possibly do everything. Saying yes is something many of us have done instinctively for much of our lives. Whether it's out of kindness, obligation, or fear of missing out, agreeing to every request or opportunity has often felt like the right thing to do. But as the years pass, especially after 70, the weight of saying yes to everything becomes clear. It stretches us thin, exhausts our energy, and leaves us little room for the things that truly matter. Life at this stage is about intentionality, about choosing the few things that bring joy, fulfillment, and purpose, rather than scattering our attention across endless commitments. The world is still full of invitations, demands, and opportunities, but not all of them are meant for you. In fact, many will only pull you away from the life you want to live. The wisdom of age lies in recognizing that no is not a rejection, it's a redirection. It's choosing to preserve your time and energy for what matters most. When you say yes to too much, you risk doing everything poorly or half-heartedly. This realization hit me hard when I found myself overwhelmed by too many obligations. I was constantly running from one thing to the next, trying to be everything for everyone, but feeling depleted and disconnected from the moments that truly mattered: quiet dinners with family, a good book in the evening, or a walk outside just to feel the breeze. It became clear that saying yes to everything wasn't an act of generosity, it was a form of self neglect. The beauty of saying no is that it opens the door to a deeper yes. When you let go of the unnecessary, You can pour your energy into the things that truly light you up. Maybe it's nurturing a close relationship, diving into a new hobby, or simply enjoying the peace of a day without obligations. By focusing on fewer things, you give yourself the gift of doing them well and enjoying them fully. It's not always easy. Turning down requests can feel uncomfortable, especially if you've spent a lifetime as the person everyone relies on. But remember, at this stage of life, your yes should feel joyful, not burdensome. Trust that the people who truly care about you will understand and respect your boundaries. And trust yourself to prioritize what brings meaning to your days. 6. Don't be a prisoner to your device. Technology has brought many conveniences to our lives: instant communication, access to endless information, and ways to stay connected with loved ones. But it has also created distractions that can quietly consume hours of our time, leaving us feeling restless and unfulfilled. After 70, when every moment feels more precious than ever, it's worth asking, are your devices serving you, or are you serving them? I've seen how easily technology can become a crutch. A phone call or text message interrupts a quiet moment. A notification pulls you away from a heartfelt conversation. Hours slip by scrolling through social media, reading news, or watching videos, and before you know it, the day has disappeared. What I've realized is that being tethered to devices not only wastes time, it robs us of presence. It keeps us from fully living the life in front of us. Breaking free from this cycle doesn't mean abandoning technology entirely. It means using it intentionally. Start by turning off non-essential notifications, those little pings that demand your attention but rarely add value to your day. Decide when you'll check your phone or email rather than letting them dictate your schedule. And most importantly, create space in your day for moments free from screens, whether it's reading a book, tending to your garden, or simply enjoying a quiet cup of tea. What I've found is that life feels richer when it's not constantly interrupted. Without the constant pull of a screen, I've been able to rediscover the joy of simple things: watching birds outside my window, writing letters by hand, or having uninterrupted conversations with loved ones. These moments aren't grand or flashy, but they're deeply fulfilling, the kind that linger in your heart long after they've passed. Perhaps the most profound shift comes from setting goals that pull you away from technology. Having a clear plan for your day, a walk with a friend, a new recipe to try, or a project you've always wanted to start, gives you a sense of purpose that scrolling through a screen can never provide. When your days are filled with meaning, the temptation to lose yourself in a device fades. At this stage of life, being present is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Don't let technology steal that from you. Use it as a tool to enhance your life, not a trap that consumes it. Your time is far too valuable, and the world around you is far too beautiful to miss. 7. Don't just read books, study them. Books have always been a gateway to knowledge, inspiration, and escape. For many of us, they've been lifelong companions, guiding us through moments of uncertainty or sparking new ideas when we needed them most. But as I grew older, I realized that simply reading books wasn't enough. I had shelves full of titles I could barely remember, pages I'd skimmed through in a hurry to finish, but few that truly shaped my life in a meaningful way. That's when it struck me. The value of a book isn't in how many you read. It's in how deeply you engage with the ideas they offer. Studying a book is different from reading it. It's about slowing down, absorbing the lessons, and applying them to your life. It's about highlighting the sentences that resonate with you, taking notes in the margins, and pausing to reflect on how the author's wisdom aligns with your own journey. It's about choosing quality over quantity, reading fewer books, but living out their lessons more fully. This shift changed the way I approached books. Instead of rushing to finish, I began savoring them. When I came across an idea that spoke to me, I acted on it immediately. For instance, A book on mindfulness inspired me to create a daily gratitude practice where I'd write down 3 things I was thankful for each evening. Another book on creativity encouraged me to finally pick up a paintbrush after decades of hesitation. By studying books, I wasn't just filling my time, I was transforming my life. The beauty of this approach is that it turns knowledge into action. How often have we read books with powerful advice but done nothing with it? The real magic happens when you take what you learn and weave it into your daily life. Whether it's a new habit, a fresh perspective, or a simple practice, the lessons you implement become a part of who you are. And here's the best part. This stage of life, you get to choose what to study based on what you need most. If you're seeking inner peace, dive into books on mindfulness or spirituality. If you want to stay active and healthy, explore titles on wellness and aging gracefully. If you're yearning for inspiration, let stories of resilience and triumph uplift you. Your reading becomes a tool for growth tailored to the unique challenges and joys of this chapter. Studying books is like having a conversation with the wisest minds across time and space. When you truly engage with their words, they don't just fill your shelves, they shape your days, your thoughts, and your actions. After 70, life becomes less about collecting information and more about living with intention. Let the books you choose guide you toward the person you want to be. 8. Don't compare yourself to others. Be yourself. Comparison is a thief that sneaks into our lives, often without us realizing it. For decades, many of us have measured ourselves against others, our peers, our neighbors, even strangers. We've compared careers, homes, families, and accomplishments, always wondering if we're doing enough or if we're falling behind. But by the time we reach 70, it becomes clear. Comparison adds nothing to our lives. In fact, it only steals the joy of embracing who we are and the unique journey we've traveled. One of the greatest lessons I've learned is that no two lives are the same. Your path is yours alone, shaped by your choices, your challenges, and the moments that define you. No one else has lived your experiences, and no one else can take credit for your triumphs or truly understand your struggles. Trying to measure yourself against someone else's life is like comparing apples to oranges. It's meaningless because the context is entirely different. At this stage, the only comparison that matters is the one between who you are today and who you were yesterday. Are you kinder, more patient, more at peace? Are you taking small steps toward the life you want to live? These are the questions worth asking, not how you stack up against someone else. Letting go of comparison also means embracing the unique beauty of your individuality. The world doesn't need you to be like anyone else. It needs you to be you. Every wrinkle on your face, every scar on your heart, every story you carry, they're what make you one of a kind. Your quirks, your passions, your perspective, they're gifts that no one else can offer. When you stop trying to fit into someone else's mold, you free yourself to shine in ways only you can. The hardest comparisons often come not from others, but from our younger selves. We might look back at who we were in our prime, our energy, our physical abilities, our achievements, and feel a sense of loss. But here's the truth. Every stage of life has its own beauty and wisdom. Who you are now is the culmination of all you've been through, all you've learned, and all you've loved. That is something to celebrate, not compare. Instead of looking outward, turn inward. Celebrate the small victories, learning something new, taking a walk despite aching joints, or simply finding joy in a quiet moment. Appreciate the resilience that has carried you through life's storms and the love that continues to surround you. Recognize that your worth is not measured by how you compare to others, but by the richness of your spirit and the legacy you're creating. Life after 70 is not about proving anything to anyone. It's about living authentically, embracing your uniqueness, and finding peace in the person you've become. When you let go of comparison, you open yourself to a deeper kind of happiness, the kind that comes from knowing you're enough just as you are. Conclusion: embracing the gift of time and wisdom. Reaching 70 is a profound milestone, a chapter of life that invites reflection, celebration, and renewal. It's a time when every day becomes an opportunity to honor the life you've lived and to shape the life you still want to create. But living fully in this stage requires intention. It asks us to let go of the habits, mindsets, and relationships that no longer serve us and to embrace those that bring joy, peace, and purpose. Truth is, life after 70 is a gift, a chance to live on your own terms, free from the expectations and comparisons that once held you back. It's about simplifying, not in a way that diminishes your life, but in a way that clears the clutter and lets the light shine through. By saying no to distractions, draining relationships, and outdated beliefs, you create space for the things that truly matter: meaningful connections, the pursuit of passions, and the quiet, powerful moments that remind you of the beauty of simply being alive. This stage of life also brings with it a wisdom that only time can bestow. You've weathered storms, overcome challenges, and celebrated victories. You've learned lessons not from books or advice, but from living. And with that wisdom comes a sense of clarity, an understanding that happiness isn't found in doing more, having more, or being more. It's found in being present, in cherishing what you already have, and in nurturing the relationships and experiences that fill your heart. But perhaps the greatest gift of all is the ability to define what matters most to you. There's no longer a need to follow someone else's roadmap or meet anyone else's expectations. This is your time to honor your own values, passions, and dreams. It's your time to prioritize what brings you peace and to let go of anything that doesn't. It's your time to live as authentically and wholeheartedly as possible. As you move forward, remember that life is not measured by its length, but by its depth. It's not about how much you achieve, but about how deeply you love, how fully you experience each moment, and how generously you share your light with others. Every day is a new opportunity to create a life that feels rich, meaningful, and uniquely your own. So, as you embrace this chapter, choose to live with intention. Protect your energy, prioritize your joy, and trust the wisdom you've gained. Surround yourself with love, pursue what lights you up, and know that you have the power to make every moment count. After all, the most beautiful thing about life at 70 is that it's still yours to shape, one thoughtful choice at a time. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.